As we are about to enter 2025, it is the time to go back and look at the best films of 2024. We've done a couple of these top 10s already. We talked about comic books. We've talked about television shows. Let's get to the big stuff, the movies. This is, after all, primarily a movie channel. I love talking about movies. Great year for movies. It has been fantastic. Some of the stuff that's come out this year, it's been mind-blowing, so much fun, so interesting, so much stuff that I wasn't expecting to enjoy. And this top 10 list, I don't think it's like surprising or different from the norm that other people are doing their top 10s on. There's just been a lot of primarily good films that have come out that people have seen. Now, at the time of this video being recording, there's a couple of movies that I want to watch. I never got the chance to. The Brutalist being probably the key one for me. I wish I could have seen that. No Other Land is having a screening in my city. Not for a couple of weeks, though, so maybe we'll come back around and talk about that. But I don't know if they would have made my top 10. They're just the two films where I'm like, I would have liked to have seen them before compiling this list. But I do like every single movie that's on here. These are just great films. It's a great time in movies. Movies are good again. They've always been good. Movies have never been bad, except for bad movies. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm rambling on. Before we get to the top 10 list, I do want to talk about a couple of films that are my honorable mentions. I don't think they're 11, 12, 13, 14 or whatever. They're just films I really like that maybe don't get the love that they have before, and I think people should check them out because there's something to explore or talk about in there. So my honorable mentions include The Book of Clarence, an early one from this year that I thoroughly enjoyed. I think what's trying to say and talk about is kind of lost in translation a bit, but it's really interesting and captivating and a different type of biblical epic than what we've seen before. So I think that is a really cool piece that people should check out. I have been an early defender of Lisa Frankenstein. It's one of those movies I think just found its niche and stuck to it, and I appreciate it so much. I also really like Carol Doda, Topless at the Condor. If you are like me and like stories about the history of sex work and the way things have evolved and progressed and the way, people were treated or behaved, you like this. It's also kind of about the history of breast implants, and I think that's a really cool area to explore and learn about. Sounds terrifying. Imagine that hardening. That'd be awful. I also really like Kneecap, an Irish film about the rap band, the hip hop trio. So fun, so much energy in that film, almost made the top 10. So many great movies. Those are some I just wanted to highlight before we get into the actual list here. Also, Sing Sing. Sing Sing is a great movie. I thought it would make my top 10. It just barely missed out. I love movies. They're all good this year. So let's get into it. Let's talk about the best films of 2024. Flow was one I wasn't sure how to take. I saw this during a film festival, and there was so much buzz and word of mouth around it. It just worked for me. It's a beautiful story. The animation is so kind of glitchy, early 2000s graphics where it's kind of out of focus for a bit, but everything is moving effortlessly and is cool. And I love cats. I really like cats. I like a story about a cat. Really respond to this one. The metaphor for travel and found family and stuff was just a really beautiful piece with really cool characters that it had a whole different vibe than a lot of the other animated movies that come out this year, and just in other movies that come out this year. It looked so unique and felt so unique, and it just spoke to me on a way I'm really happy by. I had a smile on my face throughout the whole piece. I felt really emotional throughout the whole piece. Flow was really good. It was bound to make my list, and it just stuck with me from watching it, and I can't wait to go back and check it out again and again and again. It's an easy one to throw on if you just need something casual to watch, and if you're ever at a party, put it on the TV. You'll get some people interested in seeing what's going on. Civil War is number 9 on my list. This one, I don't know if it's going to be in a bunch of people's top 10s. But I am somebody who has studied journalism, and one of the aspects of journalism I really like is war journalism and just that idea that there is just press and media in these places that either have respect or don't have respect, and the idea of taking that to the streets of America during a very politically charged couple of years is fascinating to me. It's some sort of twisted alternate history that is speaking on these words that I just really like and hitting these tones that I really like. Cinematography is gorgeous. The acting is fantastic. Kirsten Dunst crushes it as this kind of like broken person who no longer feels empathy or emotion towards the events going on, which is kind of what a journalist or reporter needs to have when you see the world falling apart. You cannot have a side picked for you, even if you politically stand one way. Very beautiful in that aspect. It's one of the best things I think Alex Garland has worked on and made. Just speaks to me. It works so well. As somebody who studied journalism, went to school for that, it's so unique, and it just worked in everything that I like about both the style that we do for reporting and, political talk about American politics and government. Looks beautiful, well handled, beautiful story about people writing articles. It's cool. I like Civil War a lot. Perhaps the only blockbuster, I say that loosely, on this list is Furiosa: A Mad Max Saga. When I look at the big movies that came out this year, the ones with expensive sets, big budgets, Furiosa stands apart. It is just sweeping and epic and biblical and historic and going into so many incredible ways. This is George Miller operating on an older level than he has for, I think, the previous Mad Max movies. Fury Road is like one of the greatest films ever made. Now, I don't know if Furiosa tops that one. It's right there beside it for me, as just, you have a great cast committed to their work. You are doing something with your friends and you are loving it. It's very much in the vein of 3,000 Years of Longing, more so than it is like other Mad Max movies, which is like the Odyssey element of it. Like, here's the journey we're going on to this place. Here's the trial at, Bullet Farm and all that kind of stuff. We're at Gastown, and here's what we have to do here. With incredible camera work and beautiful practical locations. A little more CG heavy, but man, does it look good and feel good and just make me smile, and I'm just impressed by it. It's Chris Hemsworth doing the best thing he's done maybe in his career. It's Anya Taylor-Joy showing you she can hold her own in these things. I think more so than she has in other stuff. This is a woman who is strong and capable and fierce, and you are getting that on screen in this movie. It looks so cool. Furiosa is a really fun character, and it's one that you just know. You just know George Miller has wanted to work with for a long time, is to make that character work. And this is the best movie I think we could have got from this team about this concept. So much fun. I love when they shoot parachutes out and they're paragliding over the truck. And Praetorian Jack, come on. Has anyone looked sexier on screen than Tom Burke? Holy shit. Number 7 is Superman, the Christopher Reeve story. This movie made me cry more than I thought it would. It is probably the most I've cried during a movie this year. I really, really like Christopher Reeve. I think he is a nice man who was just put into hell. And I think that sucks. And this story chronicling his life to what he was in his younger years to becoming the father, it truly broke me. Just from the opening of just seeing his young son losing his father, not even losing his father, but the accident that befalls upon him and his family just fighting and triumphing over that. It's heartbreaking, and it just wrecked me in ways I didn't think it would. I think he's still the best Superman, and this story is kind of about him being Superman. It's not truly about that, but he's one of those figures from Hollywood that is just the tragic story that is lost in himself. And then they compare him to Robin Williams because they were good friends. And I'm like, damn it, you're talking about two guys who were just exemplary and were just dealt bad hands for a lot of stuff. And just seeing that just wrecked me. And having interviews with Reeve's kids, God, it was just powerful, and it worked for me. It's the only documentary I have on here. This just speaks to me. It's the kind of thing that is going to wreck me no matter what. It's just children talking about how much they love their parents. That really gets to me. And when it's an actor who I just adore, it gets to me more. All right, let's get off like the tone where I was just couldn't stop crying, and let's go to one where I couldn't stop laughing. Hundreds of Beavers at number 6. This is, I don't know how to describe it to people. Like I've said to so many people in my life, this is the film you have to watch this year. It is entertaining as all hell. It is so funny. I just said I couldn't stop crying during the last movie. I can't stop laughing during this one. So clever, so aware of its budget, so aware of the jokes it's making. It is a big Looney Tunes sketch. And then it goes into some insane cartoonish angles. And it's just so committed to its bit. I cannot believe this got made and it's found its audience and people are still talking about it. It's so good. It is so entertaining. One of the most entertaining films I've seen in my entire life. It works so well. It is so much fun. Please watch Hundreds of Beavers. It's so cool and cute. All right, folks, it's time to get back to something serious. At number 5, we have Sometimes I Think About Dying. This is an early one that came out this year. It's kind of a 2023 release, but I'm including it in 2024 because that's when it was like available for me to watch here. This movie spoke to me in ways I wasn't expecting it to. This is about Daisy Ridley's character. She just works, a normal 9 to 5. She clocks in, she clocks out. She goes to work. She doesn't feel exemplary or anything, but sometimes throughout the day, she just thinks about ways that she'd die. It's not even a movie about like depression. It's more just like a woman trapped in like mediocrity and mundanity and not being able to escape that. And then a new coworker joins her office and they kind of hit it off in like a fun little banter way. And he starts to break her out of her shell. So much of that relationship just connected with me due to events in my own life. And it just was like, whoa, okay. I didn't expect this to hit me as much as it did, but it did. Quiet, piercing, understated, and just powerful. And that's what this movie did. It's beautiful, elegant, sincere, and Daisy Ridley's finest work. Sometimes I Think About Dying. Very, very good. At number 4, we have Carly Farge's The Substance. I have talked endlessly about this movie. I've done a review of this movie. I've done a review on my Substack about this movie. I've shown it to people in my real life. It's brilliant. It's about the price of beauty and Hollywood standards and how you just get lost in yourself. And, when you think you're not beautiful anymore, what do you do to maintain that like one precious piece of yourself that you think you had? It's a movie that is just like deep and metaphorical, and it's just so overt. Like there's nothing subtle about this. It's just speaking truth to everything we're all feeling. It's Demi Moore and Margaret Qualley just crushing it at every single turn. What these ladies are doing is just so powerful and interesting. And it looks gorgeous with bright colors and insane prosthetics and a cool horror angle. There's nothing else like it out there right now. Just what this movie was trying to say and what it did say, it worked so well. The beginning was great. The middle was great. Even if like the last 30 minutes went in a completely different direction, this would still make my top 10. But those last 30 minutes where it completely goes unhinged and finds itself in a whole new genre, I lost my mind. It's brilliant. It is brilliant. I love it so much. I really do. The Substance just works, and I really like what Mubi is doing with their releases these days. They are putting stuff into cinemas. They're on major cinema screens. You can go to your cinema and see new releases from Mubi, and The Substance might be their strongest one yet. Ryusuke Hamaguchi is a director I don't know too much about. The main work of his I know is Drive My Car, which is the film he did before this. That was so good. But Evil Does Not Exist is more contemplative and quiet than that story, and that was already a contemplative and quiet story. This follows a small town, and this big kind of like community center is trying to like make like it's called like glamping, so it's like glamour camping. So they turn like one of their forests into like a national park. Half this movie is people in a boardroom being like, hey, don't do that. We don't like the idea of like having you do that. And if you do, where's the sewage going to drain to? Where's the plumbing going to work? What are you going to destroy? Deer go this way. That's awesome. Like, I love a movie that's just people in a boardroom talking. It's really fun to watch on screen. The other half is like one of the guys that's working for this big business having a crisis, trying to like hang out with like a local guy and be like, can you show me how to be a real man, like chopping wood and living off the land and filling up water bottles and stuff. It's really cool. It looks gorgeous. It's not a film an American could make. I'm sorry. Like, just the way it behaves and feels and just breathes. It is so unique and precious and has so many cool ideas to play with. And as a Canadian, I don't get to see this side of like Japanese films. Like, here's a small community of people just fighting over this thing that's weird. But it's just so dialogue heavy, and I love dialogue. Dialogue is one of the strong things about these final movies that we're talking about. And I just feel so comfortable and satisfied just watching these people exist in these ways. Beautiful use of digital colors. I've said that already in this video, but when that works, it works really well and it pops off really cool. Like, this was a gorgeous, quiet, stunning little film that really worked for me. And I've been thinking about it since. It hasn't left my mind, just like some of the characters and ideas. So creative and fun. And that's the theme of like these final three movies. It's movies that I've watched where I'm like, man, I wish I made something like that. More so if the final two. The film that won the Palme d'Or and Sean Baker's finest work to date, perhaps, Anora, comes in at number 2. A film that blew me away. This is brilliant. I don't care what the recent discourse says. This is clever, well-crafted, well thought out, insanely genius and funny. So funny. So many more jokes and specific type of humor than you might be expecting for this Cinderella story about a young sex worker maybe finding her Prince Charming in this Russian rich boy. Beautiful, well-crafted, great score, great songs. Mikey Madison just blowing everyone out of the water around her, just giving you, this is a star, I'm a star, you're seeing me here, you understand why people fall in love with me, I feel very realistic, very wholehearted, everything about me works. I think that's brilliant and so cool, and the directing here is just top notch. And when the first half ends and it goes into like the back half that's kind of like Three Stooges adjacent, it's another type of brilliant altogether. It's one of the finest films I've seen in a very long time, and worthy of being on anybody's best of the year list. So creative and genius. Sean Baker, when he does stuff right, he can do it right. And he did this right and it looked great. And so close to being my number 1. So very close. I love this movie. I'll get everybody to watch this movie. Finally, my favorite film of 2024 is a film that was originally scheduled to release in 2023. It is Luca Guadagnino's Challengers. Yeah. God damn, is this movie electric and pulse-pounding and sexy and gorgeous. There is not a single thing in this movie that doesn't work for me. Zendaya and Mike and Josh are brilliant. The score from Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross is the best score I've heard all year. It's brilliant. The cinematography is brilliant. The way it takes a world that not many people care about and gives you the inside knowledge to it, where you're like, I understand every single specific beat that is happening and how people draw this out to do this specific thing in this way. Masterclass in that. Luca's finest directing job. It is so sweaty and sexy. God, is it sexy. I love all like the intense scenes in here. The way that this movie is told and the way the story plays out is brilliant, and the type of thing that I just wish I knew how to write better, where it's like, we're saying in this is the real time, but we go back to this way and flash back to here and here and here and here. And I want to see that happen more. One of the best finales to a movie I've seen all year, of great sets, great costuming. Everything about this movie sounds like it should be a basic film, but has so much life and energy pumped into it. You're not getting this experience in another like sports biopic ever. It is just on another level of filmmaking and has so much going for it. Every time I think about this movie and every time I watch this movie, which I've seen it a few times now, it blows me away. It makes me smile, it makes me happy. Some of the best performances I've seen all year. I love every aspect of Challengers. It is just gripping and sexy and hot, and God, is it hot. It is so hot. A fucking fantastic movie that gets everything right. My goodness, it's just magical. You're not seeing anything like it. And it's true, I haven't. I have not seen anything like Challengers. I don't know if I ever will again. This is breathtaking. Zendaya rocks, by the way. I know people might be criticizing her as an actress. She rocks. Genuinely love Zendaya. Challengers, so good, so impressive. My favorite film of 2024. And a perfect way to wrap up the year is to just tell you all, watch this again. Listen to that soundtrack. I've listened to like the soundtrack for so long. It's so fun and cool. It's so great. A great little movie. Man, is it just pumping and awesome. And that is where we're going to end things for the top 10 films of 2024. Thank you all for watching. What were your favorite films of the year? Probably Dune Part 2, I'd imagine. A lot of people like that one. Not me, though. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. As always, you can check me out on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. And of course, I will catch you in the next one. Have fun. Stay safe. Good luck.